Welcome to Better Than Gossip. I'm Amy, and I am so excited for this episode today. We are welcoming back two amazing women. They're from Evolve Me, and we're going to talk about reinvention. And, whether it's at midlife or any stage of life, it's so important. It's funny because I'm a big Simon Sinek fan. And he did a talk once, and it was really interesting because I know it's so difficult for us sometimes to find our value, or we underestimate ourselves, or we count ourselves out before we even start. Simon is a keynote speaker around the world, and he's doing a talk, and all of a sudden, he got stuck. He misplaced his notes, he couldn't get his track, and he was in front of an audience of thousands of people. You know what? It happens, right? It happens. And what did he do? Instead of getting frustrated or looking like he was fidgeting, he simply said, "Has this ever happened to you? I lost my place. I got stuck, and it's okay." So today we're going to be talking about that, really digging into finding our value and really not underestimating ourselves and not getting stuck.
Did you know about that? What? I didn't hear.
That thing I've been telling you about. It's been a game changer for me. So I'd like to welcome back to the show Judy and Linda, and I will say Linda Lautenberg and Judy Schoenberg from Evolve Me. Did I do better with the name this time?
You did great.
Oh my gosh, what is it? Is it the brain at a certain age that just goes?
I think it's the rhyming last names.
It might be.
It might be.
Well, we are so excited to have you back on the show because this is a hot topic. Reinvention at any time, powerful pivots at any time. Oh, that's what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. So let's dig in. Let's first of all just, share a little bit about your brand and what you do. And for those that are watching, that are sitting there and thinking, I think I'm ready to do this. I just don't know how to get started. Yes, you are, right? So walk us through it. What do you do and how do you work with your clients?
Great. Well, thank you for having us here.
You're so welcome.
We're so excited to have this conversation with you because you are a career reinventor yourself, Amy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Thank
you are a role model
Thank
for
you.
all of us. So Linda and I are also, we've been in your shoes before, me as a career pivoter after a long career in the nonprofit sector, and Linda as a pivoter and returner. She had a caregiving break, and she came from finance and now is an entrepreneur. So we identify with you, and we understand your challenges, and we found it really isolating to go through this process of reinvention, transition on our own several years ago, and we wanted to make it more fun and doable for you, and one of the shortest ways to do that is to do it with other women. So
Did you say fun?
It can be fun.
Okay.
I know.
Did you hear that? I mean, that's all we need, right?
Yeah.
It can be fun.
It can be fun, exciting, doable, rewarding. And what we do is we bring groups of women together in our signature program, the Reinvention Collective, to explore who they are right now, right? Maybe you're at a career crossroads. Maybe you, had a pause or had a break and you want to get back into the workforce.
Had a long break.
Yeah. Maybe you're in one industry for a while.
On that. Yeah.
And maybe you want to make a change, but you don't think you have what it takes. So we bring women through a process together. They have accountability from each other. They have community. They have a sounding board.
Big word.
They have
Structure.
They have a structured program with all the steps, because we have a method to our madness.
I love the method, and we need a method.
We need a method, right?
Yeah.
Well, otherwise you just don't know where to start.
Right.
It's that not knowing where to start that can keep you stuck. I know that was my issue.
Why? Why is that?
Because you just, I don't know, because when something is hard and you don't know where to start, especially, and this is, it's not exclusively a woman thing, but we do tend to be caregivers. So if it's not apparent what we're supposed to do for ourselves, we will just turn around as soon as somebody else needs something and go do that.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, and we don't often put the time in to invest in ourselves, right? If we're running around taking care of everybody else.
Well.
And so, like, when you have a plan and you have a pathway, then you're like, okay, I can do this, I can follow this. Otherwise, you're Googling your way out of this. And you
power of
can
Google.
go down that Google rabbit hole for years.
Well, for
Women are
years.
stuck.
For years, absolutely. And I think there's you had a great question in there. And it was, how many times do you think you've been asked the question, well, what do you do? What do you do? Amy,
Deer in the headlights.
What do you do? And it's like, and actually gives me goosebumps because I have friends that I've asked that question to and they stumble and they say, well, I was this. I used to. Oh, back in the day, I was really, and it's like, come on, what do you do? So how do you bring women out of that?
That
Because
is
that's
so
what you're
important,
saying.
Amy, and
Yeah.
I resonate with that because for several years after I left my role at this, large national nonprofit, like I introduced myself as who I was, my title, my role, and I, from this old version of me, and I
Yeah.
wasn't that
Yeah.
anymore. So one of the ways to get past that, you are more than any title or role that you have now or that you used to have.
Wait a minute.
5-10
Say that
years ago.
again.
Like you are more than any role or title that you've had.
Amen.
Now in the present or in the past.
Yeah.
And one of the ways to get beyond that is to really think about who you want to become, right? Who do you want to become and why?
Right.
Like when we stop and think,
Huge
not about
questions.
the what, like, oh, I want to work in this job or this industry, but when you start to think about why, then there's like a trick that you can do is that you can start introducing yourself with your why. So like how you want to make an impact on the world.
There
So
you
instead
go.
of saying like, I'm a this, you could say like, I really want to help children who, are in need of, housing or whatever it is.
Whatever it is that you're passionate about.
Your passion, exactly.
Kristen and I have a lot of guests on the show, and we talk about really amplifying these women's messages where they're really caught at this purpose and passion, this intersection where all of a sudden it just connects. And what you were before doesn't mean or define what you are now. And creating that environment, you had a couple of questions when we were doing the pre-work of what does that look like for you? I mean, that's a tough question to answer.
Yeah, and honestly, so many of us, because when Judy said she was so, so much of her identity was in that previous title.
Right.
I don't know about you, Amy, when you took a work pause, but I was introducing myself as what I used to be for at least 5 years.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
But here's the other thing. A lot of times that first role, and listen, college students, that first role so often,
Yeah.
we just kind of fall into that.
True.
Or we go into something because we think we're supposed to do X, Y, Z.
Right.
And so if that happened to you, then reinventing yourself is such an opportunity because this might be the first time that you actually stepped back and said, wait a minute, what do I really like to do? What am I good at? Or like you said in the earlier episode, Judy, just because I'm good at it doesn't mean I have to do that.
Have to do it. Right, exactly. That's really, really powerful stuff. The reason I mentioned Simon Sinek at the beginning was because, if we would have done that, if you think, I do a lot of keynotes and that type of thing, and if I would have gotten stumbled in my words, I don't know if I would have handled it like that. 30 years ago,
Yeah.
I know I wouldn't have handled
No.
it like that. But where I am now, and I think that really equates to, as women, where's our value? How does that? It would be very easy to say, you know what, I lost my place. It's okay.
Yeah, and so many women fear that, right?
Oh,
and they feel like
perfection
if they say
yeah.
that, then they're going to be found out, right? Or they're going to be seen as less competent,
Right.
or less valuable. They don't really own their worth.
Right,
In a way that can take them to that next step. And that's why being with other women and doing this work, because when you have somebody so accomplished sitting across from you and saying like, yeah, I feel that way too.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my gosh,
confidence is
really?
really low.
That is just immediately when you say that, someone's going to say, really? Like,
You?
Linda,
Yeah.
Judy, you feel that
We
way?
have.
You went
We
through
We
that?
have had
We have
clients
had-
that
yes.
have come to
Yeah.
us that some of the women that have worked with us that have the most, like the lowest confidence,
Yeah.
have the craziest resumes.
I love it. Though the great part, and you were mentioning about clients, is that we have a few videos from clients.
That's awesome.
So, as a matter of fact, we have a rock star client of yours that is sharing a little bit of her journey, and I think it will resonate with a lot of women. Okay. So, Carolyn B., let's roll it.
Carolyn's great.
Hi, I'm Carolyn. I'm a professional commercial model. I represent brands and services across all different types of media. I also extend that representation to small businesses as I consult them on how to be sure that their values, their branding, and their citizenship are all aligned. This all came about because of Evolve Me. The programming and training that Linda and Judy, co-founders of Evolve Me, have put together is nothing less than phenomenal. I am forever evolved.
So I remember when I met Carolyn for the first time, and she had a long corporate career, and I know we always focus so much on women taking a career break to take care of children, but Carolyn, like we are seeing increasingly with our clients, took a break to take care of her parents. She took a caregiving break to take care of her parents. And when she went, and it was extended, I think it was like 9 years, it was long. And when she went to re-enter the workforce in that same role, what she told me was, she said, I'm facing sexism, ageism, and racism. She said, I am getting all the ageisms, and I just don't. She's like, help me. I don't know how to deal with that many isms.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. And she had a really impressive corporate marketing career for many years, and she really just wanted to do something different. And I think that, she had some fears around voicing what that was. And she started, little by little, talking with women in the Reinvention Collective about it, talking with Linda and I, and what she wanted to do in her heart of hearts is she dreamed of being a professional commercial model.
Oh, well, you can see it in that video.
She just shined.
Hello.
And when she put her mind to it, and when she started stepping into that, and other women encouraged her to do it,
amazing.
She just blossomed.
Oh, I love it.
And we're so proud of her. And
she's fabulous. I'm so glad we shared that. Well, we're going to be coming back after a short break from our sponsors with these two incredible women, as well as being joined by Kristen Coffield. So stay tuned.
To myself, what a wonderful world.
Hi, I'm Bethany, and I wear a size 4.5 medium. Because I'm a pediatric optometrist, there's nothing like walking into the exam room and having the same shoe as a child. Walking Cradles has been a blessing in finding a pair of shoes that is professional, cute, and comfortable to wear throughout my workday. I absolutely love Walking Cradles, and they have made a huge impact on my lifestyle and my professional wear.
Welcome back, everybody. We're having such a great time on this segment, and this is the kind of information women at all ages need to know. And we're really talking about finding your value so you have the confidence to get back into the workspace or pivot within the workspace. So can you tell us a little bit more about, how you create that environment that allows women to kind of blossom and step into that?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for having us back here. We create a safe and brave space for women to come and talk about their challenges of returning to the workforce or pivoting. And often women don't have these spaces in their life. If they're working, you can't really talk about this in the workplace with your colleague, especially if you want to make a change. Some women come to us and say, I talk to my partners about, my husband, my partner, my boyfriend about this, but they're sick of it already. They're we don't want to hear it anymore, just do something. And then sometimes, even your best friends or your closest friends are not, always the best sounding board for thinking about your career, because they might have an idea of you that's stuck in the past. They want to keep you, seeing you in the way that they've always seen you. And so while they might love you, they might not be invested in going on this journey with you. So we create a space where women can come together across all different industries and roles, which is like the magic. And they really see their talents and skills mirrored from each other. So if you have like a designer sitting across from maybe somebody who was a teacher, they can see things in you that you can't see in yourself yet, and that other teachers can't even see in you because you're all kind of in the same lane. So there's really a lot of magic that happens when women come together and mirror each other's talents and skills, and you learn like new things about yourself.
So we get women, you guys get women out of their heads, into a conversation. You help them reimagine what their next pivot can look like using all the things they've done already.
Yeah, and they help each other too. So, for instance, we worked with a woman. She had such an amazing career, but she had been and she was in fintech, finance and technology, but she had been in a government role. She'd work in one government role after another, and she just wanted to pivot into private, and she wasn't sure how to do it. And Judy and I provided the structure and all the tools, but it was working with the other women in the Reinvention Collective and her cohort that had backgrounds in retail and marketing and different things that helped her see what was possible for her. And now she has this amazing fintech role, but with a major retailer. But that wasn't even, again, Judy and I provided the program, but it was the peer mentoring that helped her think outside the box and land that new role.
So my own personal story, I like to say, my story is a little bit of every woman's story. And I had this decade that nearly took me down. My mother had breast cancer. My father was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. My last kid left the house, so a lot of my identity was wrapped up in that. There were some struggles in my personal life, some financial challenges, and then I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. And this is where I think every woman can relate to this. It didn't happen overnight. It happened over time. And the rope was really long. And one day I was like, oh my gosh, I'm out of rope. Wow. There's no more so rope.
Powerful.
No more
Do you see this a lot?
We don't see.
In some capacity.
There are sometimes when we
absolutely.
see women that say, wow, you had all of the things, and then some women have different parts of them. But it's that whole, like all these things that can happen to us in midlife, right? The empty nesting, the taking care of parents, the personal illness. We've had women come through our program that, had to take a break from work because of breast cancer or all of the things, divorce. That is a huge life disruptor.
Right, yeah.
All of the things, you just had all of them.
Well, they all happened over
in a decade.
Yeah, and cumulatively. But I think my point is, a lot of these things happen over time, and they're cumulative, and so women lose themselves in their own lives.
Yeah,
and you help them kind of connect all the dots.
Well, that's a beautiful way of saying that. Yeah, I mean, when you were telling your story, I was thinking about one client that we had that came to us, and this first phone call we had with her, and she said, I need to do this for my mental health because she needed to get herself back.
Yeah.
And it was only going to be through, the process of working with other women to do that because she was feeling so isolated. And she definitely was at the end of her rope, how you described. So thank you for sharing that. That's trying circumstances you had, and now you're...
Well, it's all good.
You're out.
I'm here now. I'm here now.
On the other side, right?
Well, we've got so much more to talk about, but we also have, in every show, our secret sauce. So that's coming up next. Ooh.
Okay, so some secret sauce. Is everybody ready for this? Okay, let's go. Career reinvention is an inside job. So many women like you come to us and ask us to help them with their resumes. They're wondering why, if they're in job search mode, they're not getting the traction. You need to spend the time on figuring out who you are now, what you value, what you love to do, your skills, your talents, your why. And only then, once you have that, can you really focus on those other tools like your resume and your LinkedIn and your pitch, because it's really about what's inside of you. And the challenge is you have everything inside of you already. It's just spending the time to unearth it, right? And that's easier to do with other women, and that's why we founded Evolve Me.
So you help the ladies create their own highlight reel of their lives so they can see everything they've done through a fresh lens, and then they can share that with the world. That's really wonderful. So let's have a quick recap of the segment, and then let's help women figure out how they can get started.
Thanks, Kristen. So today we've been talking about owning your values. So we would love to see some of you fabulous women out there really owning your value. And we have, if you go to our website, there is a tab there for 40 over 40, and we invite you to share. There's a short interview form, and we invite you to share your own reinvention story. Whether you're on the other side of career reinvention, you're thinking about it, you're in the middle of it, we would love to hear about it, because when you put that out there, then other women can take courage from that and put their story out there too, and know that they're not alone. So let's all do this together. So it's right on our website, and there's a tab up there, hashtag 40 over 40.
And you guys help women all over the globe. So this isn't, this is all ages, all over the globe.
All ages, all
Absolutely.
stages.
I love that. I love that. So thank you for joining us today at Better Than Gossip. You can find us all over social media. We have a hysterical Instagram.
Very funny.
It's very funny. Come on, it's
It
really
is.
funny.
It's great.
Very
Check
funny.
it out.
We've got a private Facebook group. We've got everything. We're even going to be on TikTok. So visit us at
Go you.
I know. Visit us at betterthangossip.com, and we are excited that you came and joined us today, Judy and Linda. I'm Kristen, and this is Better Than Gossip, ageless advice for timeless women.